typically like to have ceremonies every time that we either swear somebody in or we have a promotion. But for a number of reasons, most of them due to staffing, but also due to COVID, we didn't have those ceremonies. So we invited Adam Turner here. He is homesick with COVID, along with everybody in his family, so he's not here today. But we've tried his, I think, 3 times. This is it. We're just going to go ahead with it, even though unfortunately he's not here. So Adam Turner was a 2007 Toledo graduate and was an auxiliary officer for the police department from 07 to 08. He's also a master's degree recipient in criminal justice from St. Leo University in 2014. He went to the NC State Police Academy in 2008. He was appointed here full-time the first time in October of 2008, then left in 2012 to go to Springfield PD. He went from Springfield PD to the State Medical Board and then came back to us as a lateral transfer in November of 2016. When I first started here full-time in 1992, we had lost a long-standing tradition of a detective bureau that was started in, I believe, the 70s by Chief Rivers. And due to budget cutbacks and other issues, that detective bureau went away. We tried to find a way to bring it back, but staffing just didn't allow it. And so in 2021, as a result of the missing persons case of Melinda K. Davis, which ultimately ended up being a homicide investigation, Adam Turner was assigned to assist with that from the start of the missing persons complaint. We went ahead and created a detective bureau then at that time and moved him in the spring of 2021 into the detective bureau. Right now he handles all of our background investigations, long-term investigations. He's one of 3 internal IT managers that we have. And lately, as of the last couple of years, he's primarily been focused on just doing background investigations. The amount of background investigations and hires that we've tried to make over the last 2 years has been monumental. So I want to recognize Detective Turner in that position. Next is, where's he go? Where'd Joe go? Joe Artrip, come on up here for just a second. I'll talk about you for a minute. Sergeant Artrip is a 2020 North Central State Police Academy grad. He's also a graduate. Where'd you go to college? Heidelberg. Football player, if you can't tell by looking at him. Obviously played football. He came here in October of 2020. And in September of 22, he was promoted to sergeant, which is quite unusual. Somebody less than 5 years getting promoted that fast. But Joe's done a great job. Joe takes every assignment, gets everything done that needs to be done. He does a fantastic job. He currently leads our recruitment efforts and our hiring board. He didn't get a ceremony for the same reasons. We needed someone to fill those ranks pretty quickly, and that happened very fast, and we needed to plug him in, so I think we swore him in and started him that night as a sergeant. So, do you have anything you want to say, Joe? I told you I'd give you 20-30 minutes to speak.
I'm not going to do all full 30 minutes, but I guess pretty much I would just say thank you for giving me the opportunity and trusting me, and I wouldn't be here without my coworkers, so I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. Kenzie's working. So, oh, Kenzie's here. Somebody cover it for you. All right, so I want to recognize Mackenzie. She was originally hired in September of 2020, and in fact, her swearing-in ceremony, all of her photos were in face coverings. So she had her and her husband, and I think Captain Rath was there, your mom was there, a couple other people, but it was very, very, very small. Kenzie actually left. She left us in March of 22. She had when did you have your baby?
July.
So she left and kind of did the home mom stuff, but she missed me so much. so desperately she missed me that she actually came back in November of 22, and because she did not get the opportunity to have a ceremony and be embarrassed, we decided that we would do it today. So I want to thank Kenzie for coming back. She does a phenomenal job. She's pretty funny. She fell out of a chair this morning. So, with Ethan there. So I want to thank you for coming back, and we're happy to have you, and we're glad you're back. I want to talk a little bit about Officer Hannah Hall. Hannah started here September 22nd of 22. She was actually a state trooper for 5 years. She is the first successful lateral transfer that we've had from the state patrol to our PD. That's kind of abnormal. Most of the time people start at a PD and maybe want to go to the state patrol, but she did the reverse. She is our 4th female in department history and the 3rd that I've appointed or hired as chief of police. I mean no disrespect when I say that. People say a male police officer and female police officer. She is the example of someone who's a police officer that happens to be a female. And I don't mean that in a bad way. She is all business all the time, and she's very good at what she does, and she does a phenomenal job. She couldn't be here. She's got 2 young children. She had a family event that she had to attend to, but I did want to recognize her because she also did not get a ceremony. Justin Hoffman is next. Come on up here, Justin. We'll let you talk. We're going to limit you to about 30 seconds. So Justin, what year did you graduate the police academy? Was it 15, 14, something like that? 2015. He's also an NC State Police Academy grad. We hired him November 4th of 22. He just got released from his field training on the 25th of February. And he is a lateral. He worked a bunch of, like 3 or 4 different agencies, but he was a lateral from Plymouth PD, where he worked from at least 2016 to 2022. And he is now assigned to second half of the week on nights. You have a few words you want to say?
I've always wanted to work for the city. I'm excited to be working with Sergeant Artrip and Officer Hall, and I look forward to having a good career.
All right, perfect. Right in time. Next is Officer Ethan Yates. Ethan is a 2023 NC. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and read about him first. Now, he's a 2023 NC State Police Academy grad. He actually started March 2nd. He started his field training, and he's expected to be released on June 16th. We swore him in quickly too. We swore him in actually Monday because it was the start of a pay period Sunday, and I didn't want to wait 2 weeks because 2 weeks for us is a lifetime getting somebody released and out on the road. So he actually sworn in Monday with his family there by the mayor at City Hall, and then started today. And your brother is Zach, is that right? Is that your brother? And you're an officer where?
The city of Pittsburgh.
City of Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania, not like, Pittsburgh, some small little village somewhere. So normally what we do when we do a big swearing in is 2 things. We have somebody designated to hold the Bible for the swearing in, and then we have someone that we present to pin on a badge, and Ethan has selected and asked his brother to come pin his badge on, so come on up here, both of you. Ethan, I'll have you face the crowd, standing a little bit this way, and you off to the side at least, so that they can get pictures if you guys want to get pictures, and we'll let him go ahead and put his badge on his brother. And any words you want to say, you feel free to say them even though you're wearing a Stevens tag.
To a long and successful career. Says Michelle.
You have anything you want to say?
I just want to thank the city of Shelby for giving me this opportunity. I want to serve my community and stay local, and I want to thank my family for allowing me to have this opportunity.
And we're happy to have Ethan in the family. In full disclosure, I graduated with Ethan's high school with Ethan's aunt, went to school with his mom and dad, and we are a family here, but what's interesting is you don't often see we don't often see here families who have started a family history of police officers. So you have a cousin who's also an officer in Ware, Delaware. Mm-hmm. So what Ethan has, a lot of people don't have coming up, is other family members to lean on, to learn from, confide in, talk to, and that helps that transition. When you have problems, I'm sure you're going to call your brother, and he's going to tell you, like the rest of us, suck it up. So thank you, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. I'm pretty excited about it, and I think we have him. What did I say? Your schedule, June 16th. June 16th is a scheduled release date from training, so we're pretty excited.
Day after my birthday.
Wow. Well, I hope you make it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, before before I turn it over to the mayor, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about this hiring process. A couple things that you heard there that you're gonna, that if it clicked in your mind, almost all these people, with the exception of one, were graduates of the NC State Police Academy. And the reason that's important is we're keeping those things local. They're able to take talent from within our area, people that we know, people that know how things operate, and they bring those people, we bring those people in, and they have a very successful program. Their graduation rate is outstanding, and we're happy to partner with them in order to get some of their graduates. That is important. The other thing you hear is, you heard a lot of lateral transfers, you heard a lot of new hires, and so what we're most excited about today is the fact that we're able to hire 2 people who have not been to the police academy yet. So we are sponsoring them, paying them while they go, and paying for their education at the police academy. Now, this is not that historical. There's a precedent for this, and this happened throughout the 50s and 60s, and actually into the 70s. I think Steve Dorsey, if any of you know Steve Dorsey, I talked to him. He retired from here, and most recently the chief of Greenwich PD. When Steve got hired, he went to they called it the Mansfield Police School. And so he went there for 5 hours a night, every night, and then came back and worked 3 hours on 3rd shift on the road. That's how he went to the police academy, and it was not uncommon to do that. We used to joke a lot with some of the old timers. I'll kind of keep the jokes to myself, but we used to tease them a lot about the state of things when they were first hired and how much training they had or didn't have. And now I think we're up over 700-800 hours. I don't even know what it is. So one of the things when I talk about historical precedents is that in the late 60s and early 70s, we saw, I go back and read a lot of old newspapers. So Chief Rivers at the time lamented and complained in the newspaper that we couldn't keep employees. We were bleeding employees. They were going other places. We couldn't fill our ranks. Everybody was leaving for other jobs outside of law enforcement, other agencies. And lo and behold, in the early 70s, we had a new wave of people that were hired that had not been to the police academy, and oddly enough, most of them were military veterans. Some returning from Vietnam, some that had served peacetime service during Vietnam, stateside. But it was kind of odd to me that the social unrest of the late 60s and the military presence due to conflict is really being repeated right now. And what's our solution now? Our solution now is to hire people and send them to the police academy. I do need to thank the Civil Service Commission, first of all. They could not be here today, but they get paid, I think, $25 a year, and they meet every time that the fire chief or I ask them to meet and present questions to them. We have challenged them with different ideas. They have accepted those ideas. They have never said no, not without at least researching and seeing legally what we're able to do. And they have moved and changed with the times. They have allowed lateral transfers, which you heard some of these people are lateral transfers. They allowed us that opportunity. And now they've gone back to allowing us to hire people, opening the door for us to hire and send people to police academy. The single most important person to thank for this is the person who got it done at the 11th hour, and that's Councilman Garland Gates. Garland is not running for another term, and he is leaving. He's announced that. He's going on to Vermont. But I do want to say publicly that I have had an incredible experience with Mr. Gates, a lot of times having coffee meetings in my office or coffee meetings at Wendy's or wherever we could meet to have coffee. And he has also, well, he has told me no a lot, but he's allowed me to find out why it's no. He's never talked down to me, and he's always been a person who has been able to navigate, due to his immense experience, navigate the bureaucracy and make things happen. So at the 11th hour, when we were running out of time to try to get 2 gentlemen into, actually 3 at the time, to try to get them into the police academy, I had a 10 or 15 minute phone conversation with Mr. Gates. He invited me to a committee meeting, and at that committee meeting had already laid out a plan to make it happen, and at the subsequent council meeting made that happen. So the fact that these guys have an opportunity to go and serve the community, I really honestly owe that to Councilman Gates. So I want to thank him for that.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. I will talk about these two gentlemen real quickly. I've known Derek quite a while. I know Derek's dad, and I know Derek's uncle, and Derek also coached my son in flag football, so my son has quite an affinity for Derek. Both of these gentlemen are military veterans, and both of them are Army veterans, and both of them are 11 Bravos, and I'm not gonna hold that against them. I'm just glad that they were able to read through the application process to get hired. That's an inside joke, so they understand where I'm coming from. But, you know, one thing that I'm happy about in their military service is these two are gonna develop a bond. And and I know that based on their military service, they're gonna be able to rely on each other and help each other through this. And when they come back here, they're probably gonna be tighter than most anybody here. And so I'm very excited. I think if we can get these guys here and keep them here for 5 years, I think they'll be 25 years plus. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to the mayor, let him do his thing. And I think we're doing Derek first and then Howard. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have a hand for Chief. Most of you know Chief has helped our department navigate some very tough times, and thanks to all of our department members who've hung in there and overtime and all that stuff. So we're very, very grateful. But I am very, very thankful for Chief Combs. In fact, events like this give me the opportunity to publicly express my support of and my love for this police department. And they truly are like family to me. They come in from City Hall from time to time, and we have informal conversations, and it's just like having a conversation with a son or a grandson. So they mean a lot to me. I have very little patience for those who are ultra critical of law enforcement. I came across some quotes. I usually have a poem or something, but here are a few quotes that I think almost could be placards in the conference room on the wall. Some of these are anonymous. This comes from Christopher Shields. There are 3 kinds of people in the world: the sheep and the wolves, and those that protect the sheep from the wolves. Another person wrote, if you get mad at cops for arresting your kids, but you don't get mad at your kids for getting arrested, you are part of the problem. Can I just get a witness? Okay. It is not a police officer's job to risk bodily injury so you can safely resist arrest. And I say amen to that. And then one of my favorites, but it certainly has white whiskers. And you guys know I love it. It says here, give me the donut and nobody gets hurt. You guys still love me, don't you? All right. Getting to this time of the swearing in is quite a process for these candidates. And for Derek and Dustin, I'm sure would say a good amen to that. There was, of course, the application process, and then a very rigorous background investigation that's conducted by Detective Turner. And then there's the oral board or the hiring board that they go through. And then I get that large packet of information in that investigation, that background investigation. I pour through it, I make notations. Chief and I go over all those notations, maybe questions I have or some further insight. And then we schedule an interview. And both these young men, it's been recent. In fact, Ethan was not that long ago either. And it's so exciting for me I get to see all of the facts about them in print. And I see printed pictures of them, but to meet them in person. And I want to say to all the family and friends and everybody that's had a part in the conveyor belt of life for these young men, you've done a wonderful job. And thank you so much. And these are going to be 3 fine young men that are going to continue on the tradition of Shelby policing as it has been known. So it's just a joy for me. And not everybody pans out through that, when we have our interview, our personal interview. But these 3 young men did, Ethan, and then today, of course, we're going to be recognizing Derek and Dustin as well. So we'll come to the time now. We've come to the time for the swearing in. And so, Derek, you will be first. Do you have someone that would want to hold the Bible for you as you'll be raising your right hand? Do you have anyone picked out? Or yeah, okay. So, Derek, if you'll stand right over here, you will please, right here. And then Sir, if you'll stand right there, facing that direction, and you'll be holding the Bible thus, and you'll be placing your left hand on the Bible and raising your right hand, and repeating after me, if you will, please. I, Derek Rose,
I, Derek Rose,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully,
and will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially
honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties of
discharge the duties of
a police officer in the police department
a police officer in the police department
of the city of Shelby,
of the City of Shelby,
state of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Either one, you want to give him this one, I'm lieutenant, and not uniform, but you want to get up and give it to him.
There we go. Well,
Hold on just a second. That's yours.
alrighty, Dustin. Come up and Gilly, you want to hold the Bible? Somebody can hold the baby, you hold the Bible. You'll stand behind yours. And Gil, if you stand right there, here, please. Hold the Bible like that. You'll place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dustin Howard,
I, Justin Howard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and will faithfully,
and will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially
honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties of
discharge the duties of
a police officer in the police department
police officer of the Police Department
of the city of Shelby,
of the City of Shelby,
state of Ohio,
and the State of Ohio,
during my continuance in
During-
said office.
during my continuance in said office.
There you got it. Congratulations. Name on the dotted line.
Get back down and say a few words of welcome to.
Say a few words. You want to say a few words, Dustin?
I would like to thank everybody that played a critical role in getting us to this position. I mean, helping us out with getting us through the academy, willing to fund it. I mean, I look forward to serving the city of Shelby, making a good example of not only myself, my family, but the department. I'd like to thank my wife, holding down the fort while I'm jumping through all the hoops, the hiring process, and watching two very bad kids.
Don't worry, they don't get any better.
But, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to thank my parents who aren't here because they decided to go on the cruise because they don't love anyone. I thank my grandparents, my great aunt and uncle for coming out here, and Chief Combs Marishak for taking the time to interview us and take our applications. And I'm very fortunate to be able to come back home and serve the community that served me so very much. And so thank you for that.